everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you guys have had a great wrap up to your summer. It's just crazy saying like wrap up to summer because I know like summer isn't quite over yet, but what do we have? Like a week left by the time this comes out? Like that's insane. Today for me it's a Wednesday and I leave to go out of town on Friday, and I'm going to like our annual family camp that we go to. And every year that family camp is like, it's the very last week of summer. So like, yes, it's literally my favorite week of the year, but it's also kind of sad like saying that because it always marks the end of summer. Like when I used to go to public school, like I would miss like the first few days of school because I would like be at camp during that, but like we've been going ever since I was born, so I wasn't going to miss. And so like it's just crazy that like we're already at the end of summer because everyone tells you like prepare yourself because like summer's gonna go by fast, and you literally can't prepare yourself for how fast summer's gonna come. Like it's crazy. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about FOMO because FOMO is such like a common topic, I feel like, because so many people struggle with this and have struggled with it in the past, including myself. Like this has been something that's like really, it was like I would say a whole year of struggling with this before I finally like came to a realization that like I was going to be okay. It took, basically what I'm trying to say is that it took me a really long time to be able to wrap my mind around like missing out and like the fact that it was okay and that I wasn't going to die. And so today we're going to be diving into that. I would say, obviously, especially for girls, like I feel like it's always kind of in the back of their head that like, oh, I always want to be invited, I always want to be included, like I never want to miss out on a hangout, I at least want to be invited. And even if you are invited, you want to make sure like you can go and that you are the first one there so you don't miss out on anything, or that you have everything because you don't want to miss any inside jokes or anything like that. And especially like, I was talking to my brother about this today, but he was saying that in high school, like he didn't have Snapchat. He didn't get Snapchat until he was 18 or 19. And so all throughout high school, like Snapchat was the place that people talked and people like planned things, and people like, this is where all the inside jokes came from. And so he was talking about how he felt so left out all throughout high school because he wasn't allowed to have Snapchat, and that's where all the conversations were happening. So he would get to school and everybody would be talking about it and he'd be like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. And so I would say that that's also like a really big thing for girls too. And also I say like this is a big thing for girls. Obviously it's a struggle for guys. Like, and I know that like I have 5 brothers, and so I've seen it happen in my house. I've seen it happen with me. I've seen it happen with my sister. I've seen it happen with my 5 brothers. Like it happens to everybody. I just feel like with girls it gets taken a lot more personally than it does with guys, and it can like ruin friendships or just make them awkward and things like that. So I feel like there are different types of FOMO. Like there's FOMO when it comes to like being places, and then there's also FOMO when it comes to like the whole Snapchat thing and like people talking on that, which I don't have any social media. So, like I can't sit here and act like I have all this experience with social media because genuinely like I've never had social media. I probably won't have it for a long time. I don't really know. So, just keep that in mind when I am talking about this. Like, no, I've never had social media, but I have several brothers who have had it for a really long time. My mentor who has talked to me about it, I know what it's like. Some of my friends have it. And so, like, I've seen a lot of it around me. I've just never had it myself. But even just, like, when it comes to, like, texting and group chats and, like, there are times where, like, I've been purposefully left out, or me and my friend group have purposefully left out. Nobody's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. And so, yes, it's going to happen, but it's just like we need to step up and like not let FOMO take over us. This can be such an easy thing to let eat away our lives because you guys, like when I tell you I was so insecure in 7th grade, like me and my friends had Life 360. It got to the point, which my friends listening might not even know this yet, but if you're listening, you know who you are. And yes, this was something that I dealt with, but we all had Life 360 together. And we'd get to church on Wednesday nights, and I'd literally track my friends on Life 360 because I wanted to be the first one to church. I wanted to be the first one there because I didn't want to miss out on anything. And so I would literally stress out my family so much, and they didn't even know why. They just thought I always wanted to be on time everywhere, which I do. But also, like, that was a huge reason why I never wanted to be late to church on Wednesday nights, was because I wanted to be there before my friends were there, because any inside joke happening when I wasn't there to know about it. And so that was, like, really a rough phase for me because it can just be so hard to not know what's going on around you. So first, I want to talk to the person that's being left out, and I'm specifically wanting to talk to the person that right now is being left out because their friend group is like purposefully leaving them out, or like they haven't been invited somewhere and they find out about it. Like, I want to talk to that person. So what I would say is, like, number one, if it's somewhere that it's like, you know, you're purposefully being left out and it has been made clear that like they're doing this and they're rubbing it in your face, what I would do is I would just completely ignore the situation. Like, I know that is really hard to do and you really want to be there, and it like go home. I'm not saying you can't cry about it and you can't be upset about it. Like, that is 100, like, that is a valid reason to be upset. But I would just go home. And one time, like, a thing happened to me where I was left out and I came home and I was super sad about it. But I was talking to my mom and my older brother about it, and they were like, you just can't let them know that this is knocking you over, and you need to be the bigger person here and be like, you guys have fun. Like, that's great for you guys, you know? And so just like not being mean back about it or anything, and just completely ignoring it and literally going home. Like, instead, my brother like did something fun with me that night, or just, you know, find something fun to do with yourself that night, whether that's just like having a chill night and watching TV, going out with another friend, like find another friend, or hang out with siblings or parents or grandparents, or just anything to get your mind off of it. Don't just sit at home thinking about it, because that's going to make it worse. But again, be the bigger person and be like, I'm okay. This isn't going to overcome you. Because also think about it. Like, how long is this going to affect you? Like, one hangout isn't going to happen. You know, if it's one time, it's like, this isn't going to affect you in like 2 weeks or in 5 years. Like, you know, it's just one night. So it's going to be okay. Like, it might be something, yes, people might talk about it in the future, inside jokes, but like, if you look at the like big picture, you're going to realize like, oh, this doesn't really matter that much. Like, yes, this hurts my feelings, and yes, I still would have liked to have been there. But like, if you look at the big picture, it's not going to affect you that much in the long run. Now, if this is several times that you're purposefully being left out, and like they have brought it up in front of you on purpose, and like, you know, things like that, I would just honestly maybe distance yourself from those people. Because, you know, if they're purposefully leaving you out like that, and it's like not even, sometimes, yes, I do understand that like you have people at different places because like, oh, I'm closer with these friends and I can trust these people. Like, that's one thing for them to be doing that. But if they're like rubbing it in your face and like being like, oh yeah, we're hanging out tonight without you, like, that's where you need to distance yourself from those people. Because no true friend would ever come up to you and be like, I'm hanging out with them without you. Like, that's just straight up rude, and like, that's mean. And so like, why would you want to hang out with those people? So I'm not saying like be mean back or like ignore them, but do put some space in between you guys and go and branch out and try to find some other friends. Because, you know, if they're not treating you like that, like, why wait around, you know? So you can just go and find some other people. Now, to the people that are leaving people out, I would say, what I want to say to you is, because I can't say I've never done this before. Like, me and my friends went through a rough patch where we were just not very nice to people, and I wish I could go back so badly and redo it and like not do that again, but like I can't. And what I've done is I've learned from those mistakes. So as I'm talking to this person that's like, you know, that you've been leaving people out, like, just know that I've been there too, and this is the last thing that you want to hear, and your heart is beating a million miles an hour right now because you realize that like this is you. But what I would say is like, yes, sometimes like I understand, like my friend group, like a long time ago there were some of us that were really close and closer than others, and so sometimes, yes, like we had some bonding time and things like that where like us four needed to talk or things like that. But when we would hang out, we would find a time where it was like, you know, convenient, and like we wouldn't go around and rub it in people's faces. Like, we'd be very nonchalant about it. And if someone else found out about it for like somehow, because, you know, technology nowadays, things get around, like, then we end up inviting them. Because if they find out about it, then you don't want to just be like, no, sorry, like, you can't go. Like, if they find out about it, just end up like, just invite them. But if that's the situation. But if you're someone who's purposefully like trying to be mean to them, and you're like, I'm trying to phrase this because I understand where it's like you can't always invite everyone everywhere, and that's okay. But like, as long as like, don't be planning things and then going up to people and being like, oh yeah, we're doing this and I'm so excited and it's gonna be so fun, like I went and did this with this friend. Like, don't go up to people that weren't invited and do that, because that's just not nice. And like, why ruin someone else's day? You, like, the Bible says, treat others the way you want to be treated. And if someone walked up to you and said that, you would be crushed. Like, that'd be so hard for you. And so I just want to say that, like, just treat them the way you would want to be treated. And here's the thing, if you invite them to hang out, like, what's gonna be the difference? Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, I understand the things where it's like you have close people that like are people that you can talk about life with and things that you're going through in your relationship with God. Like, yes, there are those times where you need to hang out with those people, but if someone else finds out because people have been mean in their face about it and like that they're not invited, just invite them. And if you're the one in the friend group that's like, well, I didn't really plan it, but I know this person found out about it and people are just being mean to her about it and everyone knows and like she's not invited and it's making her pretty sad, like be the one to step out and be like, hey, like let's invite her, you know? Okay, so now I'm going to talk about like the social media aspect of it. If you're like the person that doesn't have social media, then again, I can't talk too much to this because I don't have social media, but what I've heard is if you are one person that doesn't have social media, which speaking as the person that has social media, that's where I don't have experience. But as the person who doesn't have social media, like that's where I do have the experience. And that is like, there was a point in time where one of my friends told me she was getting social media, and in all honesty, that was really hard for me because I knew I wasn't going to get it. And part of me wanted to lie and be like, oh yeah, me too, which can't say I didn't do that. I went through a phase where yes, I did say that and I shouldn't have, and I'm really upset that I did say that. But what I learned is that I had to take those feelings to God and be like, God, like, they're getting this, but I know that you are greater than everything, and everything that you are worth is so much more worth than, social media, because I know that it's honestly better for me and my place that I was in a few years ago to not have social media. Like, I know that this will be good for me to not have it, but I need you to be satisfying me. Like, but like I said, again, you have to meet God halfway. I said this in the last episode. It's like you have to be getting up early to pour in and read into your Bible. So that way, that's when God will meet you halfway there. Like, you can't just like, God will meet you if you're like going to read your Bible. But if he's like coming to you to speak to you when you come to do your quiet time, but you're not going to do your quiet time, then, you can't expect God to heal those wounds. But what I learned is that like when I intentionally started pouring into my relationship with God, he started pouring right back into me and showing me that like, you don't need that. Like, you are great just as you are, and you don't need all these things to be better, and you don't need to be the first one to have everything. And that is something God will teach you as you draw closer to him. Guys, I have to take my water breaks in between talking because I get so thirsty. And I just realized that I'm out of water and it made me really sad. So now I'm just having to eat the ice in my cup. But again, if I could redo middle school or go back to my middle school self and look at myself and say a few things, two of the things would be, number one, don't be so worried about being left out. You should be more worried about your relationship with God and doing everything right on that end than you should be worrying about making sure you're invited everywhere. Because, if you're putting that on a pedestal and not God, then that's idolatry, and that's not okay. And then the other thing I wish I could have told myself is invite everyone. The more the merrier. And as I'm starting high school, that is something I really want to work on, is inviting everyone everywhere and just having an open mind and not being in this one tight circle that doesn't talk to anyone else, or, not necessarily not talk, but hang out with other people and not being open to other friends. As I go into high school, I want to have more friends. I want to have a big friend group. I want to invite everyone everywhere. I want to be the person that stands up. And so I encourage you guys to all be that person that stands up too, and just branch out and make a few new friends this school year. I'm gonna leave you guys with a challenge today. Try and make a new friend. The first day of school, that's a great way to start. It's because once you become friends with them first day, it's it's a habit. The other days of school, you're gonna hang out with them too, to where that builds a friendship and that builds community. And that's just it doesn't even you don't have to branch off from your friend group and leave your friend group. You can bring them to your friend group, or bring your friend group to them, and just make it bigger. Just invite everyone into this huge circle, and try not to be, I get having a best friend, I completely understand that, but don't just shelter yourself to them, which again, this is all things that I've learned throughout middle school. This is kind of middle school learning tips as well, because I'm starting high school, and these are things that I've learned and things that I've been told, because I did not walk this perfectly in middle school at all whatsoever. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn from your mistakes, and so that's what I encourage all you guys to do too. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments down below what episodes and topics you would like me to talk about more of. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode.